everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Sipping Tea with Nat and Z. I'm Nat.
And I am Z. Hello,
Sup?
hello.
Hello, people.
Yes, girl, we are in the thick of the hell that is DC. I hate this. It's like swamp
Woo!
weather.
It
The
is,
humidity is like, uh,
it slap you upside
oh,
your face
yes,
as soon as you walk outside. Like, I went out this
yes,
morning early, like around 5:36, because Will turned on the sprinklers. I went out. I was like, oh, it is so nice out. I went back out after I got a package. I said, damn. I was like 11. I said, oh no. Let me take my ass back in the house because it was too hot.
yeah. It's like you
Mm.
get hit with somebody's hot ass breath. It was
Yeah.
just
Oh,
too
that is, yes.
much,
At least it's
too
not musty
much.
breath because that would be the
No,
worst. But it's still hot.
it,
It's a
it's
hotness.
still hot. Yeah, it's not cicadas, so because they are gone
Yes.
finally.
Yes, yes, yes. Thankfully,
So at
they are
least we're
gone.
there.
That's
Right.
crazy. That's crazy. So, what else is going on with you today, this week?
Nothing, girl. I have a day off this week,
Whoop, whoop.
and yeah, but I got to take the little one to a doctor's appointment, so I'm just gonna
Mhm.
take the whole day because why
Hey,
not?
go for it. Go for it. Make it a mommy daughter day.
Right. I'm
You
just
know.
looking. Yes, I have a vacation coming up next week, just a small one. So
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to that. So I only have to be in the office next week, and
Oh,
then
okay.
it's deuces. It's peace out,
One of these
bitches.
days, I'm gonna take a vacation, and it's gonna be before 2025 at some point. But
Girl, 2025.
yeah,
I was like
I ain't taking it
20.
4 years in 3 years.
So you gonna try? So what you gonna wait another 5? You going 9 years before you have a
I
vacation?
don't got no vacation time for me being out.
Oh, oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay,
I ain't got
that's
no
right.
time. I'm all it's still in the negative and shit. So let's staycation my ass on the patio.
Hey, girl. Yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
girl. I mean, we did go down this weekend, to my in-laws and to see the family after to celebrate my mother-in-law. That was just good times and laughter. Let me tell
Yeah.
you. Woo! Too funny. Too funny.
I sure. I am sure. So let's just go ahead and get into the tea of the day. Wait, the topic today is cancel culture.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, good topic. So, the tea of the day. Look, we're not tea experts. You need to talk to your doctor.
All that.
Um, you know, there's potential side effects when drinking herbal tea if you mix with medication. So make sure you talk to your doctor before you start doing all that stuff. Any of these companies, nor are these endorsements. So what we drinking?
So
On.
today we have the tea on the table is raspberry iced tea. So the total prep time for this is about 10 minutes plus chilling, and it makes about 2 quarts. Ingredients: 8 1/4 cups of water divided, then 2/3 cups of sugar, a and 5 tea bags, and 3 to 4 cups fresh or frozen unsweetened raspberries. So with this, you're going to put it in a large saucepan, bring 4 cups of water to a boil, stir in some sugar until it's dissolved, remove from the heat, and then add the tea bags. That was something that I learned, going through this little recipe, because I thought you were supposed to keep the tea bags in there the whole time, but apparently not.
No, no, no,
No,
no.
that's not.
Mm-mm.
So then you steep it for like 5 to 8 minutes. Discard the tea bags, and then you add a remaining 4 cups of water. And then in another saucepan, you bring raspberries and remaining water to a boil. Reduce heat, then simmer for about 3 minutes. Strain, get rid of the extra pulp from the raspberries, and add raspberry juice to the tea mixture, and then serve in chilled glasses over ice. So we will have that up for y'all to enjoy this summer sweltering weather that we seem to have. Enjoy
Yes.
a bit of nice
Nice
beverage, a
iced
fresh
tea.
beverage. Yes,
Right,
yes, yes.
right.
So what's the hot tea of today?
So we have a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
There were two versus battles since our last episode. Eve and Trina was the first one up, and that was very entertaining. Eve was in London because they're still on lockdown.
With her boo.
Yes. Trina, of course, was in Miami, repping for the 305.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there was chatter on the internet that they didn't think people didn't think that this was a good matchup. But if you grew up in that area, or if you grew up listening to them, you would know that this was actually the I mean, Trina bought in Trina is the original city girl. She told you how to get a bag
Boop, boop.
from a ninja. And Eve bought that lyrical prowess that, um, I think is missing in today's female rap. So I think it was overall, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I think their lace, the wigs
Yeah.
were,
Um.
I mean, on point. I
Yes, they
mean,
were. They were
they looked good.
good.
So
Like snatch. Eve looked
very snatched.
amazing.
They did. They
It
looked.
looked amazing.
So
Much
that
props.
was great.
Mm-hmm.
You had Bow Wow and Soldier Boy, which was a train wreck that you could not stop watching. And I'm not a huge fan of either one of these individuals, right? I mean, I know a couple Soldier Boy songs, of course, Bow Wow, um, but I was entertained, and I was entertained by just how much you could tell Bow Wow wanted to entertain the crowd, um, and how Soldier Boy really just did not give a shit.
He said,
Like,
"Are you not entertained?"
right. So it was, for me, entertaining just to watch these two. And they're both a little narcissistic because they think they're a lot larger than what they are. So those egos definitely played a role in the evening's
Festive
shenanigans. Yes.
festivities.
Soldier Boy bought out Romeo, and apparently
Mm-hmm.
Romeo and Bow Wow had beef and been beefing for a while, so he bought him out.
What?
Um,
A beef about
yes,
what?
who knows?
Like
Um,
seriously.
I guess the industry, and I'm using industry in quotes, tried
Right.
to pit them against each other because they were similar.
Oh,
I'm
like
sure you can all hear the sarcasm out of my voice.
slight,
Um,
only slightly.
yes. So whatever. Bow Wow bought out Jermaine Dupri.
Mm-hmm.
Bought out DJ Paul. He bought out who else did he bring out? I don't know. He bought out some other people,
Mm-hmm.
and a good time was had. Let's
Good.
just say that. So
Good to
there's
know.
that. Then we move on to the EBT Awards,
I'm mad you
which,
said EBT.
yes, or also known as the BET Awards.
I am weak, y'all. I am so weak over here.
Yes, the BET Awards. So, with the BET, we had just a whole bunch of trash, garbage. I feel like
Really? I didn't
what
watch
I
it, so I don't know.
so it was supposed to be the year of the woman, and because it was supposed to be the year of the woman,
Mm-hmm.
what they did was they highlighted and showcased a lot of women performers. And something that really stuck out to me was, I mean, the women performers had to do a whole lot. They gave you theatrics, they gave
Whoa.
you hair, they gave you dancers, they gave you body. And the men performers literally just came out there and did nothing.
At
Like,
all.
at all. They
They
just
just walked on
were,
stage.
yeah, it was every man that performed except for Little Nas X, and I think Roddy Rich.
Yeah.
They were all terrible in my opinion. The women performances were absolutely great. I liked her. I
Uh
liked
huh.
Jasmine Sullivan and Ari Lennox.
Oh, I
I
love Ari.
liked. I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Audra Day performed.
Ooh.
They did a tribute to Queen Latifah. So Little Kim was there. Moni Love was there.
Mm-hmm.
Rhapsody. So when it came to the women performers, I thoroughly enjoyed it. The men were trash. Cardi B came out
Mm-hmm.
with the belly fully
I
out.
saw her little outfit.
Yes, she is expecting her second
Mm-hmm.
child with um what's
Offset.
that Migo? Yeah, Offset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Happy for them. People were like, "Oh, were they just getting a divorce?"
Come
It
on now.
happens, people. This is
That is
like this is
life.
real life. Do you know how many people have been in
Girl.
the throes only to turn around and have a baby and stay
Yes.
married for like 10 more years and then get divorced
Yes.
or never get divorced? It happens. It's life.
All the time. All
So,
the time.
yes.
Was Brad Pitt there? I heard he trying to talk to Audrey Day.
I ain't see no Brad Pitt, girl.
I mean, I don't know. He might have been in the wings. I see that on
No,
some little show. I was
no,
like, what? Yeah,
I
he was trying
did
to holler
hear.
at her at some
Yeah.
show, some
I
award show,
did.
right?
Yeah. I did hear that he was, there's rumors, but until I see it with my own eyes, I don't believe it. I won't believe it.
Understood.
Um so Carmelo Anthony and Lala are getting divorced. Water's wet, the sky
Finally.
is blue. This
Mm-hmm.
he's now had twins, so this brings the outside baby
Yo.
count to 2.
Whilst y'all
Um
married.
whilst yes. Mhm.
Okay.
So
Mm.
that's that.
Mm.
She
Mm.
decided to, I guess, 2 extra babies was enough for her.
Oh, okay.
And she decided to peace out the relationship. Her and Kim Kardashian about to have a hot girl summer
Yes, they are. Mm.
and do whatever they do.
Well
Um,
then.
yes, Britney Spears. So if
Mm.
a lot of you have been following the story with Britney Spears, she finally spoke at her
Mm-hmm.
think that y'all know
Conservatorship.
me, conservatorship.
Conservatorship.
I promise I am smart. I don't know what the hell
She
is wrong with
is.
me. My brain moves at a speed that is a little slower than my mouth sometimes.
It's okay.
So she had a hearing, and she spoke about, some of the things that have been going on while her father has been the conservator of her estate and over
Mm-hmm.
her, and she's like trying to get married and wants to have another baby. She can't because she has an IUD that is in
Wow.
her that they won't let her take out. She's being
What?
medicated, or in her words, she's being drugged. So there's just a lot that's surrounding this. And while I do feel like there was that initially, I do think that this is very odd for it to go
Mm-hmm.
on for this long. And I mean, she's 40.
Yeah.
I think that at this point, just let her make the mistakes that she is going to make, because you can't control her forever.
Mm-mm.
Her sister did come out today, I think, on social media to talk about her support for her sister. So, I mean, I just want Brittany to be healthy and
Mm-hmm.
happy, and I just wish the best for her in this situation. This is really, unfortunate. And like I
Yeah.
said, everybody who talks about it, all the legal um talking heads have all said
Mm-hmm.
that this level of control is a little unusual. And because usually the person who's being under this type of control still has some say as to what goes on in their life. And usually these types of situations only happen when someone is like mentally, like extremely mentally incapable of taking
Mm-hmm.
care of themselves. And Brittany appears to have all her faculties to me. I mean, she may seem a little off, but if she's drugged and medicated, that could be what's contributing to it when you see her.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think she has enough where, because she was supposed to have this residency in Vegas for an extended period of time. And she was just like, I'm going to do it and I'm out, because y'all not just going to keep using me for money. So, obviously, she has some
Right.
capacity to think for herself and determine what's good for her and what's best for her.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just hoping that her voice gets heard a little bit more. If she does need the help, maybe there could be a little more cooperation, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. And lastly, the Olympics. So Black Girls Rock. We are definitely magic. We are
Woo woo.
out in these Olympic trials. You have Sha'Carri Richardson, who's now the fastest woman in the
Yes,
world.
hunty.
Meter dash. She went to LSU,
Mm-hmm.
dropped out her freshman year to go pro. She tried out for the Olympics in 2019, but did not make it. And she came in like last place, or 2016. And so now here we are, and she is ready to rock and he's
Mm-hmm.
ready to rock and roll. So I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing her. Simone Biles is doing her
Yes.
damn thing. People getting
Mm-hmm.
mad because she got the goat emblem,
People
embroidered
hating.
in
People
her
hate.
unitard and her slides. Y'all just keep on hating because it is what it is. Um, there's been a conversation of why does she call herself the goat? Well, and she is definitely in that conversation. Sorry, she's definitely in this conversation. Okay, she's doing things that men cannot do. She's
Hello.
doing things that men in her sport cannot do.
Mm.
She has done things that you have not seen done in gymnastics ever. And if you don't go back in the analogs of
Mm.
gymnastics, and they just weren't doing it. I don't care where they were. I don't, the Russians, the
Anyway.
Chinese, American, whoever you thought was dominating gymnastics, you go back and you see, and they aren't doing a tenth of what she is doing. They're just not. She's doing it. We had two black girls that made the swim team. Two made the gymnastics team. I mean, we out here shot putting. We doing the damn thing. So y'all best be ready.
Yes, the shot
Best
put.
be ready. So y'all best be ready.
It's
The
on.
emblem, somebody on Twitter changed the U.S. Olympic, circle emblem to the bamboo hoop earrings. So,
Mm-hmm. At least two per. At least two
yeah, at least
per.
two parts.
In a
So,
Fendi bag.
yes, yes. So that is what we have for the hot tea.
All right, all right. So, what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to jump right into our tea time segment. And we are back. So, like we said, the tea time topic for today is cancel culture. So, we all have heard about it back and forth. It's the new little little buzzword that you hear all over the news on so many different levels. But what is it? Per Wikipedia, cancel culture or call out culture is a modern form of ostracism in which someone is thrust out of social or professional circles, whether it be online, on social media, or in person. The expression cancel culture has mostly negative connotations, and it's commonly used in debates on free speech and censorship. And around 2015, the concept of canceling had become widespread on what? Black Twitter. To, mm, to refer to a personal decision, sometimes seriously and sometimes in jest, to stop supporting a person or work. So a lot of times this has been used with, or made akin to like the modern day Scarlet Letter, and then it starts conversations to really think about where does this leave us? Are we in should we be looking at accountability culture, consequence culture? Lord Jesus, with my chat today. Woo! I'm gonna start over. Beep, 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 beep. That was my rewind, y'all. so so there's some things with cancel culture. It could be called accountability culture. It could be called consequence culture, and then of course cancel culture. And what are these three things, and what does it really look like? You know?
Right. And there we talk about, you hear cancel in the media, social media. It's like you said, it's the hot thing, right? And there's a debate on whether it's good, bad, or what have you. So we looked at cancel culture as a whole and said, okay, what are the good aspects of, could potentially be the bad aspects of cancel culture? So what we found is there are some good things that do come out of cancel culture, right? It's incredibly effective at combating sexism, racism, or any other type of abuse or harmful wrongdoings to others, right? We've seen this repeatedly with the Me Too movement, right? There are people who haven't been held accountable and were brought
Mm-hmm.
to accountability first through, public justice and then through the legal system. So it demands social change and addresses the deep inequalities in keeping the oppressed oppressed. And again, this is like hashtag Me Too, hashtag Oscar so white. You know, are, groups who are always disenfranchised, always are being oppressed, who don't really have the ability to speak out on some of the atrocities that are happening to them, haven't really had that voice, and the legal system hasn't really worked for them in the ways that they wish that they would. And so, or they've been too scared to come forward, or in situations where you have this big corporation or entity such as the Oscars, where you feel like if I speak out, maybe my career is going to be hindered by what I say.
Yeah.
But these movements have now allowed that conversation to take place and have now pushed a lot of social change to happen. Recently with the Golden Globes, I mean, people were like, I'm boycotting the Globes. You cannot tell me that you cannot find any journalists, foreign or domestic, that could participate in the nomination of these shows, actors,
Mm.
movies to, I guess, show a more diverse, widespread, you know,
Diaspora of
diaspora
actors, of talents.
of talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so so it's good in that way. Again, we're unable to rely on the justice system to punish those who have committed a crime or express, racial, um, or racist or sexist behaviors. And so then the people turn to cancel culture for some type of retribution. We've seen this with Harvey Weinstein. We've seen this with Bill Cosby. You've seen this with Don Imus, right? These people have done some despicable things in their lives that they are now just being held accountable for.
Just
And we're
now.
talking about decades of wrongdoings that they have done that they have now been held accountable for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Harvey Weinstein is responsible in huge part for preventing a lot of actresses from furthering their careers because they did not
Mm-hmm.
want to play the game.
Right. The
Okay?
casting couch game.
Exactly. We all know about the R. Kelly situation. I mean, we conversations a lot around R. Kelly. I
Yeah.
just saw on social media somebody posted, like, on Twitter, if R. Kelly was out now and threw a free concert, would you go? Said yes, and that didn't sit well with me because I'm like, so do you think just because you're not paying to listen to this music that this still not harmful? These
Mm-hmm.
songs, now that you know what his proclivities are and what his
Right.
behaviors were, these songs were probably, I would say, inspired by his lust and preference of young girls, girls underage. And so when you look at that, and when you do that, it's difficult for me, and I guess me as a mom of a young girl, to really sit there and still listen to his music with the same type of enjoyment that I did
Back when we
years
didn't
ago.
know.
But even when we did, because hello, we knew Aaliyah and he weren't. We knew they were married. We
True that.
saw the video of him urinating on that child, and
Right.
yet and still we did not want to just all just say
Cut
this
them
is
off.
wrong. Right? We were
Mm-hmm.
still dancing.
Yeah. It's like the Michael
You
Jackson thing.
TP2, right? TP2 was my favorite album. My
Yeah.
favorite album. I listened to that nonstop when it came out, and I feel even complicit because I knew that this man was garbage, but I still decided to
Mm-hmm.
purchase that. You understand what I'm saying? But what
Right.
this is a good example of, you when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
when you grow and you get the chance to really look at your behaviors, you should see some of the errors in your ways and move forward. And that's
Right.
something we're going to talk about when it comes to cancel culture as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, can have a powerful impact on brands we support and how we consume their products.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's look at it. Food and Wine, that magazine just came out. They had an Instagram post where they had, for Juneteenth, let's celebrate
Mm.
Juneteenth by grilling watermelon.
Mm. Yeah.
Really?
Juneteenth.
IKEA, yeah, IKEA having a
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth menu that it consisted of what people typically assume that black people eat is soul food.
And that's not all black people. You think all black people eat that?
We're not. Watch
No,
High on the Hog, and you will see we are not a monolith when it comes to the foods that we eat.
at all, at all. Cause I don't. I'm West Indian. We don't eat Southern soul food. So Will had to teach me how to fry chicken, and I was like, "What?" He's like, "How you not know how to fry chicken?" I'm like, "Cause my family never made it. We would go to KFC if we wanted fried chicken."
Not the KFC. Not the KFC.
I'm just saying, it's not. It's we're just not a monolith. Just can't
But we're
assume.
not, and that's important to know. I mean, look at Gucci, right?
Mm.
They had that sweater with the that you pulled up
Mm.
over your mouth with the red lips. Like there are things like you
Mm.
as a brand,
Who's
you
your market
know,
researcher?
right?
Because that
Responsible for that.
is clearly offensive, dating back to minstrel times. So come on now, people. It's
Exactly.
I just don't. I don't understand.
And I feel like the threat of cancel culture and
Mm.
well that came once some of these things happened did cause these companies to take a step back and take some positive changes. I know Gucci did some things that having like diversity and inclusion and having people sit at the table when they're making some of these decisions to make sure that they're not being
Mm.
offensive. It's just, there's a fine line that, and I think some people actually like to cross that line
Mm-hmm. For shock
as a
value.
buzz. Right. But do
Mm-hmm.
you want to continue to
Mm-hmm.
support those brands or those products or those companies?
Yeah.
No.
Mm-mm.
Um it's socially expected of us to be more aware about the things we say and the way we act. So this is that whole thing of wokeness, right? So cancel culture, the conversation to happen, right? So that we are aware that there are certain things that we do need to care about. I don't care, and I'm going to say this because, and this is going to probably piss some people off. I don't care about little Nas X kissing a man on stage. I don't care about.
Was that a big deal or something?
Oh yeah, people were up in arms, right? Oh my
Mm-mm.
God, the masculinity is going to hell.
Mm.
Okay, okay, whatever. You know what I care about? The fact that the NASA just said that the Earth warming than they initially expected.
Mm. How about
That's what
that?
I'm concerned about. I'm
Global
concerned about
warming?
hello. I'm concerned about company formative, allyship.
Mm.
Why are you
Preach on
supporting?
that.
Why are now Juneteenth? Thank you for giving me the day off, but let's see how many companies as a
Thank
way
you.
to make money are
Mm.
allies in this, but you're only doing this for Black History Month or Juneteenth or Pride
Yep.
Month. Isn't something
Mm-hmm.
that you consistently do.
Do.
You're not consistently carrying LGBT
No.
plus products in your stores. I will say Target has stepped their game up with
Yeah.
providing product different, you know, um,
Vendors and whatnot.
vendors, especially people of color,
Mm-hmm.
step their game up. But how many have done that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Putting their money
saying.
where their mouth is. Like, where it's at
Right.
the end game, is your bottom line more important than the social consciousness
Exactly.
of your folks
Exactly.
that come in and
Exactly.
spend money?
Hello.
You know.
And so there has to be like I feel like cancel culture can move the needle and make these companies be more accountable to their
Mm-hmm.
consumers. Then you also as a consumer need to understand spending your dollars at
Money. Mm-hmm. And that
because
dollar is powerful.
it is. Where's your moral compass? What is it that you care about? If you care about global warming, are you spending your money with companies that don't give a shit about it?
Mm.
If you
Yeah.
system within our country, products with are you spending money purchasing products for companies that are lobbying for certain laws that have a negative impact on our education?
Mm. That part. Most
If
people
you
don't take the time to look at that.
They don't. If you care about the justice system, are you spending your dollars with companies that have invested in private prisons?
There's a good one with
So
that
we need to
private
really
prison.
think about these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it
So
does,
important.
allocate room for new societal norms to be put in place, right? What we
Mm-hmm.
did 20 years ago is not where we as a society, right?
No.
20 years ago,
Mm-mm.
we weren't thinking about therapy as a whole. Now
No.
that's in the forefront. Mental health and all of those things are now being taken more seriously. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because more new societal norms are being put in place. In the right way, it can affect change, create these new societal norms where it's no, that's not okay.
Right.
Fat shaming, making jokes about fat people, or
Not
not,
cool.
or not cool. You saw sitcoms. I remember having this conversation when I was telling you I was watching Moesha, and it like was grating my nerves because they kept
Mm.
focusing on
What? Yeah.
Kim's weight,
Wait.
and I'm like, she wasn't even big.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Looking back at it, when I watched it, I probably thought the jokes were funny and ha 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 he
Mm-hmm.
kikiing it up.
Yep.
But now I look at it and I was like, wow, that is really bad. This is toxic. This is
Right.
not good.
We have to
So
evolve. We have
yes.
to evolve.
So that's a good way to even start talking about what are some of the bad things that
Yes.
happen with cancel.
And there's so many, the blowback can be so dangerous for folks. There's the woke bashing of
Mm.
individuals who are willing to learn and have a desire to be an ally to the marginalized communities that are clearly being affected, but doesn't serve the collective pursuit of equality. It only causes alienation and shame. Folks really need to be mindful on how they project and talk about this in the community, because the blowback is negative. It can be dangerous when people have the right to choose whether they are canceled, not canceled, because they may be offended by something you said or did, or worse, which I think this is a big one, what people think you did
Yes.
without the facts. They're only going on. I mean, I would say nowadays, behind Instagram and all that other stuff, we are a bit of a sheep mentality
Mm-hmm.
culture. So if one person jumps on the bandwagon, you're going to have a whole bunch of others trolling and co-signing without even finding out what exactly was the issue, and
Mm-hmm.
taking and doing their own research to find out, is this really what's going on. And
Right.
because of that, it continues to divide people, and much larger divides. We see that right now in Congress with cancel culture and them throwing it around and all the other
Mm.
stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
without necessarily getting political, but yes,
Yep.
y'all see it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then I will say, even with the division it's creating, and more so, the blowback on different celebrities and whatnot, it does create unrealistic expectations on celebrities.
It does.
And
They
I
want you to.
don't, yes, and that's not realistic. I realize people kind of, lift people up on a pedestal, and they hope and wish to have that lifestyle that they see on TV, but it's not real. And then
It's
you put
not
these
real.
these people are real. These people are human that make mistakes.
They are, and it's kind of like you become a celebrity. If I became a celebrity today,
Mhm.
I would have to go back through all of my tweets, all of my
Mm.
Instagram posts, delete everything. Like you almost have to know you're about to be a star and
Yep.
kind of wash your
Straight
social
up.
media history, because if you do not, people are going to go back to
And
find
look
things to call you out on, and they don't said. When
at
you know
all.
better, you do better. But it seems like we don't want celebrities to know better and do better. We just want you to
Mm-mm.
know better from the start.
And I
We
don't
just
see
want you
how
to.
you can't do that. That's not
It's
realistic.
not realistic.
People don't just come out the womb knowing everything. I mean, if that was the case, you wouldn't have to go to school.
No.
You wouldn't need to know anything. The rules of the road. If you knew how to drive and you just get in the car and take off, you still have to learn. You have to grow. You have to. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, it's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. You know, you have a situation like Kevin Hart,
Yep.
where they he became they said he was going to be the host of the Oscars, and they went
Mm-hmm.
back and found tweets that they said were homophobic. The LGBT community came out, they went off on him, he lost his gig. They
Yep.
tried to make him go on an apology tour, and this man had already apologized for those tweets, and actually prior to that had already
Yes.
to change his comedy to kind of fit
Reflect
the
that.
masses, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um then you have Chrissy Teigen, right, who did something, who you know, told somebody to go kill themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that person said they contemplated it, severe depression. People came
Right.
out against her, and then she, you know, issued an apology, only to have somebody come out and say, "Oh, well, she did this to me too," which we found out later was
Was fake.
false, was fake.
Hmm.
But it's just like they don't even want you to grow. She's like, "Yeah, I did that. It was 10 years ago," and you know, you don't really sometimes know that you've done something wrong until somebody points it out to you.
Right.
And I know that that's a hard concept for a lot of people to understand, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you don't know that you've done something wrong until the person
Right.
you've wronged actually has a conversation with you and say, "Hey, you wronged me. You
Mm-hmm.
did me so bad. Here's how I felt." And then you then say, "Oh my God,
I didn't
that
know.
wasn't my intention," or
Mm-hmm.
"I, you know what, I do see how my behavior was abysmal. I'm sorry."
Yep. And then
But
you commence to change.
you commence to change. So she probably just let dead dog that lie,
Right.
and then that person bought it up, and now she's lost a whole lot of stuff behind it. But she's
Yeah.
apologized. She's taken the responsibility for it, and wants to move on. But people don't want. It's
They just
like
want to. Yeah.
a dog with a bone. This is like you get it, and you just don't want to let it go.
It's ridiculous. You got to give those individuals a chance to make amends. Like, what do you want from these people? Because it's just, and then you, if anyone is like, okay, well, they said what they said, and now they're apologizing. They're not the same person because you're not the same person you were
Hmm.
10 years ago. I'm
Hmm.
not the same person I
Hmm.
was 10 years ago.
No, I'm
I
not.
mean, you're not giving people grace. And then you think about if anyone says, "Well, we're giving grace," then you get attacked because now your view is not the same as everybody else's because
Right.
you're trying to step up and say this person is trying to grow,
Right.
and then
Right.
you get attacked for it. And it's so subjective because what I think should be canceled, you may not think should be canceled.
Mm-mm.
And then why? And then if that person is louder, because the squeaky wheel gets the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So that person that's whoever's the loudest, whoever is the most, I guess, fan base or likes, then people will just go with that
Right.
without tax sitting back. And this definitely has come to bear with um, on the flip side, when cancel culture can actually help certain things, it can also be in a position where it does not step up for certain things as it should, i.e.,
Mm.
Colin Kaepernick.
Hmm.
All of that. Tim Tebow did the same thing against abortion a year or two, a couple years before when he still was in the league. And everyone was like, oh, that's so nice. It's a peaceful demonstration of all that other stuff. And nobody said anything about him being disrespectful to the flag.
Mm-mm.
Ever. Nothing
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
at all. And then Colin met up with his teammate who was military, who was a veteran, and said, man, if there's another way to still get your message across as a military person, I think kneeling is okay. I don't feel it offensive. And then people just ran with that shit and said it was offensive. My
Right.
husband's a veteran, and he was like, I don't find the shit offensive. Why? And I'm in the military.
Well,
And
you know
then,
how I feel.
mm, mm,
You know how I feel about it.
whew, I just can't even. I just don't understand. I'm like, there are military personnel that are active, retired, veteran, lifelong, and have said this is a peaceful form of protest. Why are y'all giving us grief?
And that's the thing. It's just like you sit here and you say, people who are saying this are sitting in their house, beer gut hanging on their jeans,
Mm-hmm.
drinking natty ice, talking about some shit that don't matter. They would never join the military,
Ever.
never be in the military, but want to tell somebody how disrespectful they are with the flag. And then here
Yes.
they are in their flag shorts on the
Mm.
4th of July eating off a flag paper plate
Plates.
with their natty ice that has a flag embedded
Mm.
on it.
And all of those are not legal.
You
And that is
that's
a
desecrate
that is
that is desecrating the flag. But
yes.
people don't want to talk about that. You
Mm.
want to pinpoint it all because why? Because the message that he was trying to get across, you didn't agree with. So I don't
Hello.
agree with your message. So now let's cancel you. And
Mm.
that's the issue. We are in we're supposed to be a democratic society, but we are now living in a society that is systematically excluding anyone who disagrees with us.
Yes. If you have an alternative view, if you are a free thinker, that
You are
you
canceled.
are canceled. You cannot think outside the box. And that, those things lead to other things in other parts of this world that I'm not going to get into right now.
Right.
But that is the mentality when everything is the same. That is dangerous,
Very
dangerous
dangerous. And I
waters.
mean, here's the thing. Kanye West, I don't agree with his views. I don't agree with him as a person. I am not Kanye West. If you want to blast 808 heartbreaks, if you want to blast graduation, if you want to do any of those things, I am not going at you crazy because that's your opinion is different than mine. So it
Yep.
is what it is. But we have come, and I think it's Trumpism. I think
Yeah.
Trump is responsible for creating this. If you don't agree with me, you are the enemy and you are
Yes.
canceled. And
Mm.
if because think about it, he did that on his
Uh,
show. You're fired.
yes.
You're
You're fired.
fired. You're fired. And he did that, carried that same mentality into the White House.
Yep.
So as soon as you don't agree with him, you know you're getting canceled. So
Yep.
what do? You suppress yourself and what you really believe,
Mm.
and sometimes to the detriment of other people. Look at
Much to the
Fauci.
detriment. Oh my
Fauci had to
goodness.
bite his tongue because this man out here telling y'all to
What?
drink bleach.
And Dr. Burks. Drink, and the man had to stand there and be like, what? And then people actually did it. What is wrong with, like, this is the problem of one mind thinking. This is what we're trying to avoid. You mean to tell me this person, your whole life, it says on the bottle, don't drink. This person who is not a medical professional says, hey, let's put some bleach and some light up in there. And you say, okay, I'm gonna go drink some bleach. Did y'all not see Heather? Y'all saw Heather's? That chick drank that shit and she died. Heather died after she drank the shit. She and Christian Slater and Winona Ryder sitting there like, oh shit, oh well, she did. I'm just saying, y'all, come on, y'all, get it together.
But that's what I'm saying. And that then leads to the ugly side of cancel culture, right? It turns into cyberbullying. I feel like has been at an all-time high in the last past 4.5 years because of
When
just to troll. You have the QAnon people. It just turns into this undeniably toxic behavior. And then criminal threats get involved. People's invasion privacy becomes invaded. You know, that the thing called doxing where they find all your information and they put it online. You know, people have been driven to suicide behind this whole idea of
yes,
cancel culture, right? And it circles back around. This is definitely the ugly side of it. It's denying an individual the most basic of human opportunities, and that is the opportunity to apologize and to be absolved. It is your God-given right to apologize and be absolved. That is what God tells you to do. He tells you to come bring your sins to him so that he
hello,
you. So if God is who he
forgiving,
is
a
and forgiving,
forgiving.
who the hell are you to tell somebody that they can't be forgiven for something they did 15 freaking years ago?
Because I guarantee your shit does stink. Not,
It
I
does.
mean, I'm sure it does. So you can't be telling everybody else what's good for me is not good for you. Like what's
Hello,
good for the
good
goose ain't
morning.
good for the gander.
Hello and good morning. And
Mm.
this is what I'm saying. Like, I am going to tell you, not a proponent of cancel culture. I am a proponent of what LeVar Burton says, which is, I think, culture or accountability culture. One of those two he had mentioned. And if you don't know who LeVar Burton is, get into it. Mr. Reading
Please.
Rainbow himself, okay?
Reading Rainbow.
I feel like accountability culture is better. Consequence
Mm-hmm.
culture is better. You did
Yes.
something wrong, but now you're going to make amends.
I mean,
And
that's
I
how it's
don't,
supposed to be.
right. And we're going to get into the gray areas because there's a part that's like, how long ago did this person do this? Was it
That
yesterday
part.
or
Can
was
we
it
talk
20
about
years ago?
that?
I am
Yes.
44 years old. If you going to hold me accountable for something I did at 24, your mama.
Right. And your mama's mama. Because come on, get it together. And how do we navigate this area? I mean, we need to make sure that we're communicating across the moral and political divides and listen to understand, not listen to respond, listen to
Hmm.
understand how people have different views, which they're allowed to do, whether we like it or not. People can have their own individual views. So it's like a gift and a curse, but you still have to respect that and how they were able to come to their own conclusions. People have different lived experiences that contribute to that. But you also have to be mindful and be humble to knowing and acknowledging where your gaps of knowledge are.
Hello.
Because if, like I had said earlier, folks just go along to get along and go with the masses without doing their own research. In my field in healthcare, and I do research, if I ever publish a paper just cause I thought it looked like this sounded good, that's a blog. I couldn't get that into a peer reviewed journal because it's I didn't acknowledge my gaps of knowledge before I put that out. And you need to make sure you do that. You need to own up to your past mistakes, acknowledge your blind spots, admit you don't know what you don't know, and anything hurtful that you may have said, discussed to other people, but use that, you know, to figure out how can I learn from it and move past it and make progress together. And really just sit back. Sometimes you just need to shut up and just listen to other people and where they're coming
Exactly.
from.
And then on the flip side, you need to allow someone else to do that, right? Somebody
Mm-hmm.
else, if I'm determining whether I'm not going to cancel you, I need to see if you're owning up to your past mistakes. I
Yes.
need to see if you've made progress. I need to, the reason why I decide to cancel R. Kelly is because he has not made any contrition. He's
None.
still to this day
Denies.
denying, deny. So for me, there is no forgiveness in that. There is no, I'm not going to cancel you. There is nothing there for me because have not, you have not grown. You
Mm-hmm.
got off. Okay, let's
Basically.
off of the
Mm.
child pornography charges and all that, what, like back in 2006 or whenever it was,
Yeah.
only
Mm-hmm.
to continue the same behavior that got you caught up in the first place.
Because he didn't get caught. There was no penalty. So why? I mean, honestly, we all know if we get away with some shit, you probably gonna see if you can go get away with it again.
Right.
You know what I'm
But that's
saying?
what I'm saying. We in a society, cancel culture started with the prison system. We talk about we want people to go to prison to be rehabilitated. People
Mm,
get on parole, and
hello.
the way they get on parole is if they say, "Yes,
Yes.
I
Rehab.
am remorseful for what I have done. I shouldn't
Mm,
have done it. I've learned
the proper way
the
to go
proper
about it.
things. I've learned. I'm righting my wrongs." And as
Yep.
soon as they hit the street, no, yeah, we say that to let you say that and you get off, but the world is unkind. We don't forgive.
Mm-hmm.
People ain't out here giving ex-cons chances.
No.
I've seen situations where people literally were falsely convicted of a crime and still
Mm,
have a finding a job. But you
yes.
want to sit here and talk about, we need to give people second chances. We ain't never been a society that wants to really give
Mm-mm.
people second chances. Let's be honest.
At all.
We want to give people, it's subjective. We want to give people second chances when it makes us feel good.
That's it. That's it. And it really makes us kind of stop and think, what does this look like? Look at that, like you said, the chronology and how if any time has passed since their last offense
Mm.
or perceived offense. And like you said, what are they doing today? And like are they sorry? Because a lot of people just are like, I'm good. And what was the intent? Were they just going along to get along? Were they jumping on the bandwagon to be rude and hurtful? Um, and then the one thing I will say, I think we have turned more into a really sensitive society because some people get so offended by the littlest things these days, by what other people do, and we really have to separate what offends someone and what is directed to offend. Those are two different things. You can say something that, when people are like, I ain't trying to offend you, but I'm about to offend you anyway.
Right. Or
Or, yeah,
or what offends you and what's offensive. Those are two
right.
things.
Two different
Because
things.
what offends you might not offend me, but
Hello.
we may say the same thing is offensive.
Right. And in the way that we are receiving it. So,
Exactly.
and how you really got to think about how is it being received. But
Exactly.
I think that comes from the participation culture.
Yeah.
Personally, y'all can't take how to. I don't even want to
Yes.
talk about that, but
But
mm.
that's good what you said. It's like the three C's. Chronology.
Chronology, contrition,
Ooh,
context,
chronology. Chronology, contrition, and context.
context. All of those things need to be
Chronology,
considered when we're looking
contrition,
at
context.
yes, the
Yes.
three C's. So
At this
important.
point, y'all need to just know I'm pronounce a word here or there because I'm telling you, my mouth is working faster than my brain, and
It's
I
all
just
good.
say what I see, and I'm not. I'm so y'all just bear with me, okay?
We'll
But
be all right.
is that is those are the three C's, and you have to look at those things, and you have to be aware of those things when you right before you decide to cancel somebody. How long,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, how long ago was this? Was it something that happened a week ago, or is it something that happened 20
Yes.
years ago?
And
Right?
what was the company they were keeping at that time? What mindset were
Hello.
they in? Because you would want the
Exactly.
same. I mean, it comes down to the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Because if you would want that grace to be like, no, no, it wasn't like that. This is how the situation really was. You would want that grace to explain what is going on and what you were doing at that time. So give that to others. And
Right.
most of these people you don't even know.
No. And that is the other part. You don't know these people from a can of paint. These people
Mm-mm.
don't put money in your pocket or food on
Not.
your table,
You
but
put money in their
you
pocket.
pockets. And that is why people make you think that they have a say on person
There you
maneuvers and
go. That's
operates.
true.
Working for the
Hmm.
government and having to deal with the public, I used to laugh when people would call me and tell me, "Oh, my taxpayer dollars pay your salary." Bitch, I pay taxes too.
Hello, I'm paying my own damn salary. Thank you.
I'm an entrepreneur, bitch. If you want to look at it like that,
Give me my
I'm an
Schedule C
entrepreneur.
because I'm my own damn business.
Shit. But like, by the time you break down all of the taxes, bitch,
Yes.
your little tax probably paid like $2 of my salary.
Thank
Okay,
you.
like
Thank
don't
you.
get it twisted. But
Please.
anyway, but because we do that, like we are a society that feels like we have the ability and right to tell people how to live their lives.
Yes.
We
Knowing that
feel
we
like we
wouldn't want anybody to do it to us.
right. We feel like we have the ability to tell and keep you um doing and being and living and thriving. And that
Yes.
is the that is a sadness in
It
all of
is.
this.
It is
If
sad. It is.
it
Is. Where do we go from here?
right, if we just mind our own goddamn business, let
Mm.
people live their lives the way that they want to, you and then in situations where we're talking about the more severe cases like the R. Kellys, the Bill Cosby's, the
Mm-hmm.
Harvey Weinsteins, then yes, let's all jump on the bandwagon.
Hello.
Let's all push the needle forward. But it has to be consistent. You cannot do it for one and not do it for the
Thank
other.
you. And the consistency of it all is so important.
It's
Like you said,
consistency. Be consistent.
can't pick and
Um,
choose.
no. So, I just hope that, as we come to the end of this that a lot of you who may have participated in cancel culture at some point or another actually used your powers for good and not
Yes.
evil.
Please, please, and think about it. Think about what you think you're about to cancel.
Right.
It like seriously.
And no, and I'm gonna say this. Woo, I'm about to say this again. Consistency,
Mm.
because don't come at me
Mm,
Because you want me to cancel, I don't know, you want me to cancel one type of person, but you
not the
got
other.
John Gray out here slinging his
Right.
dangling and everything
Every.
that's walking, and you just, I'm telling you, it's consistency that matters.
Come on
If you're
now.
going to cancel somebody for bad behavior, that has to be the same across the board. If John does it and Bob does it and
Mm-hmm.
Mike does it, they all need to be held accountable.
And do
The
your
same.
research. Do your
Right.
research. There was a time, when TMZ used to come out with stuff, and the people are like, "Oh, that ain't true."
Right.
Now, TMZ is the go-to for all the other news outlets.
Exactly. And that, and I'll even leave it with this because we were talking about Britney Spears.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, Perez Hilton, because you brought up TMZ and this made me think of it. Perez Hilton and Justin Timberlake came out in support of Britney and apologized for their past behaviors to her. Perez Hilton says he
Mm-hmm.
apologizes for how he treated, he reported on her, the negative things that he said about her. He wishes her well. He wants her to be able to live her life fully in the way that she wants to. Justin Timberlake said the same. People had their issues with Justin Timberlake. Some people have
Mm-hmm.
canceled him. That's, it is what it is.
Right.
Um, but again, why are people mad? Like, oh, why are you coming out now saying something? If they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. If they don't
Exactly.
apologize or make contrition or say that I am sorry for what I did,
That
people are like,
part.
"Oh, you're an asshole. You
Uh-huh.
should have done this sooner." But if they don't, if you know, it's just they're damned if they do and they're damned if they
If
don't.
they come out and admit it, they're damned. If somebody finds it and then they admit it, they're damned.
Right.
It
I
does
mean,
it's a no-win situation.
right. Y'all could fry Justin Timberlake's for that the Janet Jackson shit because he deserves, right? For
Mm-hmm.
years he decided that he was not going to be on the side of Janet Jackson and say, "Yeah, we together," because his money was more important. I'm
Right.
going to say right, fry his ass. But most of us going to take the fall for somebody else when our money is involved. I ain't saying
Right.
that it's right. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be held accountable for. Saying he did with anybody. He did what he was what you would expect somebody to do in that situation,
Right.
which is I'm gonna save my ass and fuck what you heard.
Because I got millions
He
of dollars
right,
at stake, and I love Janet, but I see the other side.
yes, I
You
love
know.
Janet. I like so again. I understand why people are upset, and the fact that he came out 20 years later and said, "Yeah, I was wrong for that," blah blah blah, and people don't want to accept his apology. Hey, that is fine. You should do that.
Right.
Justice with Britney Spears, and he said
A whole
she
bunch of
did him
stuff.
dirty,
Mm-hmm.
and he was in his feelings, and now he's come out and said, "Hey, no, are you filing your nails?"
Oh no.
And you know what? On that note, let's just go ahead and take a quick break and come back with the last sip of the day. And we are back. This is the last sip of tea with your hood Dalai Lama. Humanity is fallible, and every single one of us is capable of sin. But if it were not for the hopes of one day being redeemed, none of us will seek to understand our flaws and make the effort to rectify the damage our actions have made. And that is attributed to Aisha Tarim. Look. We've talked about it all, during this episode. Cancellations are sometimes intended and deserved and necessary. Extremely harmful speech and actions should always have consequences. However, many of the people who participate in this mob mentality that leads to cancellation don't really want to cancel anybody, right? They're just joining in on that day's conversation, that day's controversy. They're criticizing an offensive or even dangerous idea, mocking someone they think deserves it, hunting for retweets, demanding accountability, and making a joke. Yes, people should be do something awful. People should be shamed when they participate in dangerous behavior. And social sanctions are social change, and they should absolutely be used. However, when the cancellation is subjective, when when it restricts the individual's path to redemption, we have to take a step back and determine if cancel culture actually is the justifiable means to the end. And that is the last sip of tea with your hood Dalai Lama.
Tea it was. That was great. So, thank y'all for joining us this week on Sippin' Tea with Nat and Z. You can follow us on IG at Sippin' Tea _Nat and Z _pod and on Facebook at Sippin' Tea Nat and Z to get information on our podcast, topics, tea tips, news, guests, all that stuff. And thank y'all for listening. See you next week when we discuss living with fear. Take care. Bye.
Bye for and Nat's fingernail file.
Thank y'all.